Okay, we're live.
Hi, welcome. Thank you for joining us today on this Education USA webinar about Education USA Academy in Boston University. My name is Martina Mazaheri. I'm the Managing Director here at the Center for English Language and Orientation Programs at Boston University. And I am joined by my colleague.
I'm Colin March. I'm the Associate Director for Academic Programs, also at the Center for English Language and Orientation Programs, where we go by CLOP here.
And we're excited to have you here today to share with you a little bit about our upcoming Education USA Academy here at BU. Almost there. Apologies. Opening up the PowerPoint. And voila.
So, Boston University, Boston, Massachusetts. Where are we? Where is Boston? So we're in this small circle in the far northeast coast of the United States, one of the oldest cities in the U.S. Boston was founded in 1630, and you can find it at the mouth of the Charles River in beautiful Boston Harbor.
By telling you a little bit about the city of Boston and what it's famous for. We're pretty proud of the city that we live in, and so we like to talk about it. One of the things that Boston is most famous for, and I think this will be important to all of you, is that it is considered America's education capital. Why, you might wonder, is Boston America's education capital? Well, over the course of any given year in this city, we have about 152,000 students studying at 80 plus institutions, and 7 of the top 50 universities are all within the greater Boston area, 2 of which I'm sure you have all heard of. Harvard University and MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. But then, of course, also Boston University.
Boston is home of 57 historic sites. Many of those are from the American Revolution, but we are also Boston is also the home of the first public park in the United States, Boston Common, the first public secondary school, which is Boston Latin, and the first public library in the United States, Boston Public Library. Boston is also home to several championship sports teams. You might have heard of the Boston Red Sox, our baseball team, or the Boston Celtics, our basketball team. The American football team, the New England Patriots, just won the Super Bowl again. And our hockey team, the Boston Bruins, won the Stanley Cup last year. Most of you probably will be a little bit more interested that we do also have a professional soccer team, not on caliber with some of the European clubs, but New England Revolution plays soccer.
You can tell we're a little bit into numbers. We like to compare ourselves. We're a bit competitive. And one of the things that we are competitive around is the size of our institution, the institution that both Colin and I worked for, Boston University. We have about 33,700 odd students here on campus at the moment. They are studying in 17 different schools and colleges. Some of the most well-known ones are Boston University School of Law, the Boston University School of Medicine, Boston University's School of Business, Questrom, And obviously, we also have engineering programs and liberal arts studies. You name it, we have it. In addition to that vibrant student body, I think one of the things that really sets Boston University apart is the fact that we have students joining us from 142 different countries in the world. So as you can probably imagine, we are a very diverse student university campus. Boston University's campus is unique in many ways in that it's not a confined campus, it's a city campus. It's pretty much along what we will show you at the end of the presentation, Commonwealth Avenue, which is a long stretch of road that all of Boston University runs along. Right here.
Here's a picture of Boston University. So on the right hand side, you can see the skyscrapers of the financial district and of downtown. And as you follow along the river, there's a stretch of road on the right side of the river there. And from the little sign with the red triangle, that's where Boston University's campus begins, and it ends where the white at the other end of the screen at Ganis Arena. And so our campus is about 2 kilometers long from one end to the other, all along Commonwealth Avenue. And when class is in session, in between classes, this is what Commonwealth Avenue looks like on pretty much any given day. Lots of students, lots of backpacks, lots of different faces walking up and down Commonwealth Ave.
International students as we have here at Boston University, one of the things that we truly pride ourselves on is the services that we provide to those international students. We have a very large team of international students and scholar services supporters in our ISSO, International Students and Scholars Office, that send to international students in a variety of different arenas. Cultural adjustment, getting to know Boston, immigration, and housing, all of which can either make or break a student's experience in a different setting, far away from home. So we really want to ensure that international students who study here with us get the best possible experience and do so by ensure that they're well supported.
There are 4 primary areas that we focus on. One is for participants to learn about admission to an American university or a college. Another is to work on the application essay, which is something unique to American universities. We will take participants to visit Boston area colleges and universities, and also get a feel for science, technology, engineering, and math study, also known as STEM, in U.S. higher education. We'll talk a little bit more about those areas in just a moment.
So admissions is a big part of getting into U.S. higher education. In other countries, admissions isn't as competitive as it is here in the United States. Here at BU, our selectivity rate is about 27%, which means that only out of 100 students, only 27 get into the institution, which is pretty selective. And it's important when you're an international student as well as a domestic student to understand what the admissions process looks like and what admissions officers look for in a potential applicant for a new class of students. So what we we'll do with the students in our academy program is that they will have very unique experiences in having private meetings with BU admissions personnel to receive information on the type of student that BU would be looking for, have some one-on-one time for Q&A, questions and answers. We'll, from our faculty, learn about the role of the Common Application here in the United States. It's as the name says, the Common Application. It's an application that is used by most all of higher education institutions in the United States. So it's one application that basically can open an array of access to an array of a number of different institutions. We will also be talking about standardized tests like the TOEFL and the IELTS, and while they're important, why they shouldn't be the sole focus of any particular student. We'll be looking at recommendation letters, and we'll also be focusing very much so on the application essay in and of itself. Students will also have a chance to hear from current international BU students and hear a little bit about the journey that brought them to this institution. So to talk a little bit more about the application essay is probably the key focus of the application of any student to a U.S. higher institution. What makes it so important is that a lot of universities really want to make sure that their cohort of students that they're accepting is diverse, complements each other in a variety of different ways in terms of backgrounds, experiences, likes and dislikes, interests. And the only way of ascertaining that information and the only way to really get to know a student is through the application essay. Not much is told about a student by looking at their TOEFL score. Yes, you can probably tell what their English level is like, but you're not able to tell who they are as a person and if they would be a good fit within the greater group of students that you're trying to put together. So in order to help students with drafting an application essay, with writing this very, very important piece that in many ways is probably the most daunting aspect of the application, our faculty brainstorm topics. There's a lot of brainstorming, a lot of mind mapping, a lot of idea generating of what to write about and what not to write about and why. We look at how to organize an application essay. There's ways to do it and there's ways not to do it. We share tips and tricks like keeping the focus of your application essay narrow and keeping it personal, adding detail in order to bring the writing to life. And most importantly, using your own voice, being yourself in the essay that you write. And last but not least, putting finishing touches on the application essay. Something not to forget is to proofread. So we walk students through the why and how of proofreading. Not every proofreader is the right proofreader for an application essay. And you certainly don't want someone who is going to make the essay sound different from what your story is. One of the most exciting aspects, I would say, probably of our EducationUSA Academy are the campus visits. As I mentioned earlier on, Boston is the education capital of the United States, and across the river from us are Harvard University and Massachusetts Institute of Technology, two of the top 10 universities. The students, the participants in our EducationUSA Academy will have the unique opportunity to get an inside look through admissions guided visits to these institutions. Understanding though that not every student who's coming to the United States wants to, is interested in, or can get into Harvard University or MIT. We will also be looking at and having a personal visit to the University of Massachusetts. The UMass system is the largest system and one of the most well-known systems of U.S. higher education, public U.S. higher education in the United States. And it presents a unique opportunity to get a feel for what public higher education feels like in the United States. Last but not least, we'll also be visiting a community college, a 2-year college where students sometimes get their start in higher education in the United States. I, for one, did when I first came to the US from Germany.
Guys, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I think we have technical difficulties. We're only seeing the first slide.
No.
Yeah. Can you switch the slide where we're supposed to be, please? Yes, perfect. Thank you.
You see that now?
Okay. All right. While the 3-week Education USA Academy program is not is a wonderful thing, it's not quite enough to really get into what it's like to study STEM in the U.S. Sort of what we are looking we've developed here is sort of a sneak peek at how STEM is, how the fields are, how students learn in STEM here in the U.S. So we'll be doing, participants will learn through doing, going to different locations, going to different site visits, and taking in experiences working with, or taking in experiences with professionals and college students who are doing research. Participants will be working together on projects. Collaboration and teamwork is really important at American universities in all areas, but in particular in STEM, with the idea that this collaboration and teamwork is preparing students for the work they will do later on in life on cross-cultural teams. And at BU, we really focus a lot on how we connect who we are with the world around us, with a goal to improve our society, improve science, and improve ourselves. And so that's another thing that we'll be looking at as part of our STEM curriculum. Some of the site visits that we will take students to are Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution, MIT Broad Institute, Genomics Platform, MIT Museum, and the BU Rajan Kilachan Center. In all four of these sites, scientific research is being performed by project teams at Woods Hole. They're physics, engineering, biology, chemistry teams looking at the world's oceans. At the Broad Institute, they're biologists, physicians, and engineers all looking at how to address public health concerns at the MIT Museum. They're designers and engineers, and the Kilachand Center scientists, engineers, and physicians working on human health, environment, and energy. And so these four places are very good examples of how STEM is studied and worked on here in the U.S. And on the left here is a picture of the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution in southern Massachusetts on Cape Cod. Jason is a remote operated vehicle for studying the ocean floor, and on the right is a researcher and some of the tools of his trade at the Broad Institute.
Great. And now some of the probably more information about our program, not so much related to the academic component, but more related to the daily life of students. We'll chat a little bit about housing and meals, and then also a bit about supervision and safety while students are here on our campus. With 33,000 students at BU, we have about 11,000 dormitory spaces in a number of different dormitories across the campus, across the 2-kilometer long length of Commonwealth Avenue, and then in some other areas as well. Students in our EducationUSA Academy program will be living in what's generally considered freshman housing in our Warren Towers dormitory. They will be sharing rooms with domestic and international junior students. All of the students will be under the age of 18. The dormitory is organized into male and female dorms. The dormitory has 24-hour secured access, so students can only get in with their BU ID card, which each of them will have one from day one. What also sort of sets the experience apart is that we will be having live-in resident and program assistants. The program assistants are unique to each of the programs that the students are participating in. And in addition to being there for the students in the dormitories, they will also be joining them on program activities, and will be there to really support the students both on a programmatic standpoint, but also from a personal and emotional behavioral sort of wellness standpoint. We'll be organizing on-site programming for them, both during the day, but also at night. And what also is kind of unique about Warren Towers is that there's an on-site cafeteria that students will have access to, along with a variety of on-campus dining options across the campus. Safety is obviously a big concern for many parents, I understand. And as such, we wanted to take a moment to talk a little bit about the emergency protocol and the support services that are available here on Boston University's campus. At Warren Towers and within each program, a curfew is put into place. For the EducationUSA Academy program, our curfew will be 10 p.m., which means at that point in time, our program assistants will be accounting for all of the students, and they will no longer be able to leave the building until the morning after. We want to ensure that students are safe, and while Boston is generally a safe city, any city at night is probably not a place for a junior to be off on his or her own. Other components of safety and well-being on Boston University's campus are our Student Health Services Center that looks after students' physical well-being, our Behavioral Health Center, which looks after the emotional health of our students, and this is students, both juniors and adults. We have a 24-hour on-site university police force if there is a need. and a comprehensive phone and email alert system that reaches out to the entire community in case of an emergency. And with that, we are getting to the end of our presentation. We briefly wanted to share with you the dates for the program and the fees. The program dates are July 15th through August 2nd, with students arriving on Sunday, July 14th, and departing on Saturday, August 3rd. The total program cost is $4,990, which includes room and board, health insurance, any and all activities that students go on as part of the program, all academic materials, as well as what's not included here on that slide is airport pickup and return. Those are all included. And with that, we would like to hand it over to you to see if there's any questions. Give us just a moment while we switch over to the other screen, in which you may or may not have left us some chats.
There is a little bit of a delay, so maybe we can wait for a few minutes to see if anyone types any questions.
Nothing so far.
Would you like to give any finished remarks before we stop the broadcasting?
Did you hear?
Yes.
Are we on?